Guys, it seems like I've hit a dead end in Raid Shadow Legends after playing this game for almost 2.5 years and realizing where I'm at today, what I'm doing on a daily basis. I've come to the conclusion that I just can't really progress anymore. So in today's video, I want to go over a couple of things that should be improved if we want the game to continue to be entertaining for endgame players, but also on a couple of things that sort of were promised and that are still not exactly inside the game. And then it leads me to question, what is the future of Raid for a player like myself? I also want to propose maybe a fresh start, either another free-to-play account in Raid, maybe other games. So we'll go over a couple of those things real quick, but hopefully you guys can help me decide or help me maybe understand what am I supposed to be doing at this point. So all that said, let's get going. So let me first start by explaining how I view progression in this game and what I mean by reaching a dead end, or in other words, the plateau. When you start playing this game, whether you are pay to play, pay to win, or free to play, your progression curve is just going to be different, right? It's as simple as that. If you're pay to win, you're going to reach the top really fast, and then it might get boring for you a little bit faster. So when I say pay to win players eventually become pay to lose players, is usually those that have paid way too much money. They get to the end, let's say they're not making content, they get bored and they move on to something else. That's almost pay to lose in my opinion. Pay to win is like you pay a little bit of money to speed up your progression, but you eventually reach that plateau anyway. Pay to play, it just takes more time. Free to play, it takes forever, all right? So 2+ years before you get to somewhat the end game, assuming you keep playing. But what do you do when you actually reach that plateau? What is there to do in this game, right? So far, I've done everything there is or that can be done in this game. All the level 25 dungeons are now speedruns on my account, right? 1 minute and 30 seconds for Ice Golem 24. 25, I suppose I could speed it up. Recently, my Spider 24 is 24 seconds, 35 on Spider 25. Dragon's Lair, I recently got 1 minute and 8 seconds for my 25. So like, you see what I mean? I'm reaching these records. I'm speed farming these dungeons on a daily basis. I am saving my own real life time, all right? In the absence of faster in-game play time, as we were promised, with the exposure of the so-called third-party software that allowed you to play faster. They said we were going to get faster in-game playtime. We still don't have that, all right? So, I can keep waiting, or we can all keep waiting all we want, but at some point, they're going to have to deliver on their promise to make things a little bit better. So overall, this is just a huge grind on a daily basis, even though I have speed teams for this. I've completed all the faction wars. Recently, I've started giving you guys my speed teams to do this because, again, I want to just save more time in this game. Too many things to do on a daily basis. As for the Doom Tower, pretty much done across the board. I can do all the floors with somewhat this team. I have to manual a few of them towards the end of the month, which is annoying, but it's still technically doable. All the bosses, or at least the ones that I want, I can speed farm. Recently, we got a 51 turn record here on the Griffin. I showed you guys all this stuff. Of course, there's also the clan boss, right? So I have a 1 key Ultra Nightmare in here, right? So 1 key, 90 million, give or take. This is usually what I get on Void. It works for Nightmare, it works for Brutal. So like, I'm set here as well. What I'm saying is I'm set across the board. I can farm the campaign on Nightmare, also here with our guy Yorndig now, right? I can do this relatively easy. So literally everything is done on the account. Yes, we're gonna have a new Doom Tower rotation. There's gonna be a few new bosses to figure out. There's 3 more legendaries, 3 more epics to get in there, but all those champions still don't do much on my account. So what is there to do when you're at the end game in here, right? In my opinion, it's to be competitive. Actually, when I started playing this game, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to reach the end game over time and be able to compete, to show that you can, as free-to-play, compete. And yes, you can. Don't get me wrong. It is possible. You could reach Platinum Arena as free-to-play. It is doable. But it doesn't change the fact that it's not doable for everybody. This is limited to a very specific amount of players. Number one, because Platinum is limited to 300 players. I get it. Only the most competitive players should be in there. Makes a lot of sense. But also because of time zones. In this game, for whatever reason, they have opted to not do regions. If they were to do regions in this game, they could split up all the player base in like Americas, Europe, Asia, whatever, and then have kind of like platinum arenas for specifically those regions. It might give a chance to more players to compete. I mean, put 100 top players in each of those categories if you want, but if you at least split this up, everybody has a chance to compete. Right now, as it stands, this is tailored to specifically players from Europe, or mostly from Europe. And I think that's unfair. It's not that I don't want to compete. It's not that I can't compete. Probably I could finish in Platinum. I just refuse to get up in the middle of the night to do this. All other games literally have zones to allow players to compete. Why would Raid, after all this time, still decide not to do that? Maybe it's a technical limitation. Maybe it's going to affect their metrics, and I don't know what, but you know what I mean? It just doesn't work for me, sadly. More recently, and this is the worst one, they've changed the clan versus clan tournaments to also kind of work to be a last-minute spending spree. Like the Platinum Arena, it's just all about refreshing, finding the teams you can farm, and spamming those fights. It doesn't show skill, it just goes to show that who can be there at that time for the last 10 minutes to compete. And I think that's not a great way to showcase that. So let me show you recently the clan versus clan tournament. The latest one we've had, and I think this is the killer here for me, is this right here, okay? We were 6 hours before the end of the tournament. We had a 1 million lead. I have to go to bed because I have a real life. I have kids, okay, like everybody else. I cannot get up in the middle of the night just to try and push for this. But with the recent changes to how the shards work, guess what happened? I called it. You guys, some of you guys actually said, you know, probably not going to be an issue. Trust me, it is an issue. You see it right here. Literally, they beat us by just the right amount, which means that they technically, in the last couple of minutes or hours, they were able to get all the extra points from the champion objectives. So how can I compete with this? I had plenty of shards. I might play the shard game, I don't care, but I cannot do it because it is not in the right time zone. So guys, sadly, for a player like myself, or I would assume a lot of other players, when you reach the end game, if you are not in the right time zone, what do you do? It's just a grind fest. That's it. There is nothing else to be gained. Getting new legendaries on my account right now still wouldn't do anything. It's not going to improve any of my dungeons, my clan boss, Doom Tower, the arena. I wouldn't care because I still would not compete. So what do? I'm at the end game. I'm at this dead end. I don't know what to do. Guys, what do you think? First option, play other games. I mean, I'm already doing it, so why not? And yes, this is a shout out to Dragon Champions at the same time. I do have a promo code in this game that you guys can use before level 15, which is Bionic. This will give you free in-game loot, such as hero stones of a Corcrim, one of the starter heroes, also some Drake coins, some gold, all the good stuff to help you progress a little bit faster, and it will support the channel at the same time. I do have a link in the comment section and description section below, so if you guys want to do that, great. But what I love about this game is that, number one, the heroes are not all kind of like in your but in your inventory of heroes. It's an index kind of built into the inventory. When you get more of these heroes, they're hero stones, they kind of stack onto each other. You don't have to like go through a menu up and down all the time to clean the champions that you've pulled. Very different concept. Once you max them out, you can effectively convert them into a different currency, like a dupe system. Yes, kind of like a dupe system already built into this game. You can also get all the heroes in this game, literally all of them, without relying on the RNG to pull them. You can pull them faster if you buy the shards, but you can at least play the game over time as free to play and get them all. Okay, so really, really good. Secondly, I've been playing Marvel Future Revolution. This other game is also kind of nice, and it is finally a skill-based game. And I think that's absolutely amazing, because when it comes to mobile games, they're usually kind of just a spending spree in some cases. At least here, I can somewhat defeat my opponent if I'm better skilled. It still doesn't change the fact that you will require some pretty intense gear to do this, and because you can buy the so-called gear, it still makes it pay to win, or at least pay to compete. I can still have some fun for, let's say, the arena, but after playing for about now, I think 3 weeks, give or take, as free to play, right? I have only made it to about Platinum 3 in terms of arena ranking, and there's plenty more, right? So of course, there's some better loot if you reach all the higher ones, for example, Avenger. So of course, if you want to fully enjoy this game like any other mobile game, you end up having to spend some money, but at least it is really fun because, like I said, it is a skill-based game. All right, so I'm going to keep playing this a little bit. Maybe this is something I should focus on more. And of course, for these two games, I'm playing them on BlueStacks. This is the only way I can afford to play multiple games every day. I also have a download link in the comment section below. As for new games though, maybe we want to focus on just entirely different concepts of games, and I've told you about New World multiple times before. This is a full-on PC game, a real MMORPG, the kind of game that if you play 4 hours a day, you're going to get an advantage over other players who only play 2 hours a day, right? So this is a grind, absolutely is, but at least there's no pay to win, which means that the guy who only played 1 hour is not lucky enough to pull whatever gear in the game that's going to make him stronger and beat you in the arena. All right, so this type of game, at least for me, maybe is now a little bit better, so perhaps I should focus on this. There's also other big titles coming out such as Lost Ark and Ashes of Creation, so maybe it's time for me to spend a little bit more time on this. Or second option, restart Raid all over again as another free-to-play account, because I mean it seems to be the hype now. All the other content creators have their whale accounts and then they have their free-to-play accounts, so maybe I should just make a second free-to-play account. And no, I would not take the perks after 16 months, don't worry. I would keep this one 100% free-to-play and just do the whole thing all over again, because again, I'm on this dead end, and so what else am I going to do to keep you guys entertained or to keep myself entertained? So I want to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think? Is anybody else sort of in this situation the same that I am? And I will be having a poll on my community section on YouTube to figure out what you guys really want to see on the channel. So all that said, thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you guys in the next video.